Hello guys, and welcome back. It feels so weird to do a sit down video because I have not done it in a long time. I wanted to come back on here and do kind of like a Q&A since I am now 1 year postpartum. You guys have had a ton of questions and I did a little Q&A thing on Instagram. So that is what I plan to do today. I'm going to talk a lot about kind of what's been going on, where I've been, why you haven't really seen me on here, kind of a whole like recap of my year. That's the idea I had for this video, and then also answering some of your questions. Some might be a little personal, we will see, but yeah, that is what I want to do today. This channel, you guys have known that I've been so inconsistent with it. I'm not gonna like make excuses, but I've just put more of my effort into my vlog channel. And this whole past year for everyone has been very strange. Kind of hard to talk about 2020 for everyone. I mean, it was the most amazing year because my son was born and he literally was the highlight of my entire year. But it also was a really, really hard year for me. And we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, I just wanted to say hello, welcome. If you guys are still subscribed, if you're still supporting me, thank you so much. If you've been around for years and years, I appreciate you so much. Or if you're just stumbling upon this video and you are new, thank you for watching. And if you would like to check out my vlog channel, I share a lot more of my life over there. I'm a little bit more consistent over there, and I vlog my family, and you can see vlogs over there. I will have a link below. It's La Vida de Meg, the life of Meg. So I am going to jump right into the questions because I think a lot of questions I'll be able to answer and kind of explain what's been going on. And a lot of you guys have asked things about postpartum because I was pretty open about my postpartum anxiety and depression that I dealt with, and I'm still, I wouldn't say like getting over it. I still struggle with that. I mean, I'm only a year out, and I know that for many it doesn't just go away after a couple months. It also doesn't help that I was dealing with postpartum in the year that we just went through with COVID and everything. So first thing I want to talk about that I got a lot of questions about, and I think is pretty important to bring up because it's something that I'm still struggling with. Someone asked, how's your blood pressure going? Now, if you saw from my birth video, my labor video, I have my actual birth vlog on my vlog channel, but then I talked about my entire labor story over here. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen that, but I talked about how I went into labor with really high blood pressure and they treated me for preeclampsia. I was on magnesium, which was the worst. If you have been through that, you know how it is. I had to be bedridden. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do anything. It was really, really hard. My recovery was awful, and that's a lot of the reasons why things went differently, like not as I expected, and that is just how it is. You know, when you are pregnant or when you have a baby, things might not go as planned, and you have to kind of prepare yourself for that. So yeah, my recovery sucked, but anyway, I'm getting to my point. So after that, you know, I went home, I was fine, but I've still been dealing with high blood pressure, and they're not really sure what's going on. So a little update on that. It's kind of the reason why I've been really distant from videos and just posting and stuff, because I'm dealing with a lot, you know, in my personal life and my health and stuff like that, and I've really just been trying to find a balance. And just really put myself first. But I'm going now on my third medication because the first two medications haven't really worked. And I'm on my third. and they do recommend that I go see cardiologists because they don't know what's going on. My blood pressure is still really, really high. I could literally be like at my most relaxed, about to go to bed, I take my pressure and it's just so high. If anyone has dealt with hypertension or severe hypertension, you know, I would love to hear like your feedback or what you've done or anything that works for you. Please don't scare me. Like, I'm already an anxious person to begin with, and this has also been really hard for me because I feel like my anxiety and my stress has a lot to do with my blood pressure, and the doctors feel differently. I also feel like it is genetic. My dad has high blood pressure and he's on medication, and I'm actually going on the same medication that he's on. I'm taking it now. So very well could be genetic, and it's something that I have to live with, but because of my age, I'm only 27, you know, it's a concern and we need to get it under control. So yeah, so now I have to go to a specialist and we'll see what happens with that. I'm very nervous about it. I get myself anxious about it all the time. So that is the update about my blood pressure. If you guys are wondering, it is not been good. So yeah. Jessica M. Polite said, is there anything you miss about being pregnant? I definitely miss certain things about being pregnant. I miss my belly. I miss feeling Kaden move around. I miss the excitement of going to ultrasounds and just appointments and like seeing his progress. Like, there's so many amazing things about pregnancy. I am so glad that I got to go through with that, and I'm so glad that I had a pretty normal, like, healthy pregnancy for the most part. The only thing that I pray I don't have to go through again is my pregnancy rhinitis, which I'm sure you've heard a ton about because I talked about that so much because it was something that I was dealing with, something that I literally was struggling so much with in my pregnancy. Mainly towards the last trimester, I was pretty much like congested and sick for 3 months straight. A little bit in my second trimester, and then like right in the beginning I got a severe cold, and that's when I found out I was pregnant. Kind of was like in and out of my pregnancy, but mainly up to giving birth, like I had the worst rhinitis. Basically what that is you're just severely congested and nothing you do will make it go away. No medication that I took, you know, nothing. Like, I'm telling you, nothing. I remember getting so many messages like, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And I'm like, yes, I've literally tried it all. And the doctors would tell me, like, you can do everything you want to try to like alleviate some of the, you know, congestion, but nothing's gonna work. Like, as soon as you give birth, like, it will go away. And I'm like, what? But it's true. I actually did get another question. I don't know who said it. People actually asked, like, did your congestion go away after birth? And literally, I'm not kidding you when I tell you I was so congested. You can look back at the videos of me talking during labor. I was so congested. I asked them if they could give me some saline spray or something because I could not breathe. All I was worried about was pushing. Like, I didn't want to be able to not breathe out of my nose to be able to push. Like, it just seemed impossible. Literally, as soon as his head was like halfway out, as soon as his head was there, I could breathe normally. Like, it was incredible. I don't know how that is. I don't know why, but I was able to breathe again immediately after I had him, immediately when he was out. Who knows? That might just be something that I have to deal with for every single pregnancy. And if that's the case, I'm totally fine with that. But there's a lot that I miss about being pregnant. I feel like ever since Kaden turned 1, if you didn't know, Kaden is officially 1 year old. Literally today's the 12th. I don't know when I'll be getting this up. But literally today we were bringing him home from the hospital. He was born on the 10th of January. So he's officially a year old. It's crazy. And I am totally getting baby fever, but we will get to that. I have a lot of questions to answer. Amber May 92 said, did you gain your energy back? I'm 7 months postpartum, sleep all night now, but I'm still always exhausted. Yeah, I feel like you kind of go through phases of like having energy, and I definitely feel like getting out or like going on walks, doing that, because you're so cooped up in the house when you have a baby and you're not really like doing much. I mean, clearly with everything the way it is right now, it's so hard to get out and do anything. I mean, I had my baby in the winter, so you know, we were just inside all the time, and then COVID hit. I definitely feel like, you know, trying to get a little bit more active will keep your energy up, and make sure you're eating. That's something that I like always struggled with. I would always make sure that the baby was okay, but I would not like take care of me. I would like have my cup of coffee and then like that was it. Like I would just forget about feeding myself. I still struggle with that because I'm chasing around my kid all day and playing and stuff. It gets even worse when they're active because then you cannot put them in a seat or a chair or a swing, whatever, and just let them be and like do what you need to do. You're just constantly on the move. But yeah, you'll get your energy back. I would just say take care of yourself. It's so, so important. Shanta L. Vanessa said, what's your favorite thing about being a mom? Oh my gosh, there's so many things I love. He just brings so much joy to my life, and I don't know who I was before I was a mom. This is really hard to talk about because, and I could go on a whole tangent about this, there's a lot of moms that I talk to, friends of mine, family members that feel the same way. In a sense, when you become a mom, you lose a part of your identity. You feel like that's all you are, is a mom. But at the same time, it is like the most rewarding, amazing thing to be a mom. So it's really hard to explain. He just fills my heart with so much joy. I could just like cry looking at him. It's that type of happiness. I think the one thing that I just love so much, which is this most simple thing, but it just, I don't know, it's something that touches me so much, is I've always just wanted to be able to be called mom. That sounds so like dumb, but for like my kid to be able to look at me and be like mama or mom, like I can't put my finger on it, but I've just always wanted that, and it means so much. I mean, the first time I heard Kaden say mama, I was just like in shock and so happy. It just warms your heart. I could go on and on about that question. There's so many things. Josie Brienne said, best useful advice for getting through the first year. Oh my gosh. There's so much. You have to have some patience, and you have to have some patience with yourself too. You and your partner have to work together as a team. That is like one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give. I'm sure you know, once you have kids, like it's so hard to be independent. It's so hard to like put your relationship first because your kids come first, and you just have to be a team in everything that you do. Another thing that goes along with that is communication. You know, communication's so big too. You need to be able to speak up when you need your time. You need to be able to, you know, communicate when you need help. And that's with anything. That's just not with your partner, but like if you need help, ask for help. Don't ever feel bad about asking, you know, a family member if they can come over, you know, so that you can shower or have some time for yourself or whatever. Go to the grocery store. You know, like don't ever feel bad about asking for help. Tiffany McBee said, do you feel guilty when doing literally anything for yourself without baby? And then in parentheses, she wrote mom guilt. I used to feel this way. It's a little different because now Kaden's a year old, so it's a lot easier for me to like go and do something I need to by myself or have some me time. because I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I need this. Like, I'm home with him every single day, 24/7 by myself until my husband comes home. But I'm with him every day, and I'm a stay-at-home, essentially working mom. So in a sense, I know exactly how mom guilt feels. Like, I would feel bad like leaving him with my parents so I can go to the grocery store, or like dropping him off there so me and my husband can have a date night or whatever. I always feel bad. Like, in a way, it almost feels like I don't want to burden anyone else either. And a whole other thing that I could talk about is like feeling like you need to be in control of certain stuff. That's also really hard to get through, because that's something that I've struggled with, is like wanting to be in control of everything and make sure that like things go your way. Like, for instance, if my baby was like staying overnight somewhere, I would be like, okay, well, he needs a bath at this time, and he gets a bottle, and he goes to bed at this time, and make sure he has dinner, and this, and he has a nighttime diaper, and his pajamas are in there, and like I'm just so, I just can get like really controlling over things, and I need to learn how to like step back a bit and just kind of relax and just let things be, because that is how my anxiety is. Like, I start to feel out of control with certain situations. Guilt is something that you really need to get past at a certain point, because it's so healthy for you to have your time. I mean, you don't know how many times I've gone in the bathroom just to like cry, or just to go to the bathroom by myself, like just needing a couple seconds to breathe. You need to be your best self for your babies. You need to be in the best mindset and feel your best to be the best mom. And that's why I try not to feel guilty about that stuff anymore. I mean, I guess for me it's a little bit different because I work from home and I'm with him so much. So like I need a break, but for those people who have to work or have to be away from their babies or have to put them in daycare or have a babysitter or things like that on a daily basis, I would totally get that. I would feel extremely guilty as well. I would just want to spend as much time as I can with my baby, and I wouldn't want to leave them with anyone else. I think this whole pandemic too, and like during COVID, the fact that everyone's been able to be home, most people, it's been really nice to spend so much time with family and really have that quality time with your partner and your kids. I've heard a lot of good things come out of this year in that way. Like, people are happy that they actually got that time with their family that they wouldn't have before, or it kind of made them realize like how much they cherish that time. And I would say that this year kind of did some good in that way, because there's a lot of people that don't get to spend that time with their family or are working so much that they miss out on a lot. So I kind of went off on a little tangent about that, but Katie T615 said, do you want more babies soon? I did get a lot of questions about this. There's many people that asked me, let me see if I can find another, because a lot of you guys were saying, are you trying for baby number 2? So I feel like a goal of ours is to move out of here and try to get a house before we try, or at least like before we have another baby, because 1, we need more space, and 2, I don't want to have another baby here. Am I ready to have another baby? No. Yes and no. I don't know. I can't really say. Like, I have a little bit of baby fever because Kaden's 1. And we also know that we want our kids to be close in age. Like, we ideally would love to have them like 2.5, 2 years apart. But I'm not in any rush right now to like get pregnant. for me, like I really wanted to enjoy the first year of Kaden. I didn't want to worry about a second pregnancy. Like I just wanted to enjoy him. And especially with everything going on, like it would stress me out to even think about getting pregnant again. It's just a really crazy time, but it's definitely been on our mind. I mean, Anthony's brought it up multiple times and he's like, I'm so ready. Like I want our kids to be close in age. And I also would really love to be able to have my kids young. Like, okay, I'm 27, but I don't want to be in like my mid-30s still having kids. That's just personally my feelings and my opinion. Like I want to be able to really enjoy my 30s and have my kids be a little bit older where, you know, me and my husband can go on trips, because we never really got to travel. You know, there's a lot of places that we want to go and we very well can bring our kids, but there's a lot of traveling we want to do. We still want to do some things on our own too. So we definitely want to have another baby though when we move out of this house. Like I don't know when that's going to be. It's definitely still up in the air. I can't even really go into like where we are financially too, because it's just been one heck of a year and it's been hard. It's been hard on so many people. We've been renting for so long that we're just throwing away money and it makes me absolutely sick. So, and it's just been hard. There's a lot of stuff that I can't really talk about, like financials, because I just don't feel like it's necessary. It's no one's business. But I just don't want you guys to ever think that like just by looking at us or what you see on Instagram that we have this like perfect life and we're, you know, we have a lot of money, and it's just not the case. We're just normal people. We have our struggles. Not really ready. I know I did get some questions about moving too. We don't really have an update on that right now. We're really trying to figure it out. As far as a baby, it's like I'm ready, but I'm not ready at the same time. So I'm not on birth control. If something happens, it happens, but we are definitely not actively trying right now. So sorry to bum you out, but no, we're not really trying because we just don't know where we want to go from here as far as like a new house and stuff like that. Lynn Klukowski, hopefully I said her name right. How do you feel your body has changed? You look amazing. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people that asked about like body changes and what I feel has changed. I would say that, well, first of all, quarantine did me dirty. I probably gained like a few pounds or so. A lot of people asked about my pre-pregnancy weight. If I'm back to my pre-pregnancy weight, I'm like a few pounds off. I would say I fluctuate between 3 to 5 pounds of my pre-pregnancy weight. I wish I could drop like 5 to 10 pounds. I'm just enjoying life. I try not to stress about it too much because I get so much in my head. But I think the most that's changed for me that I'm really still like self-conscious about is my chest. My boobs like totally deflated, if we're being TMI, and they don't look the way they used to. They're just definitely not as perky, and it sucks. Like I've already kind of thought about getting them done after I have kids. Thought about getting them done like before my next pregnancies, but I'm like, it just doesn't really make sense. Like I'd rather just, you know, have my kids and then fix my body after. Anyone coming at me saying stuff about like plastic surgery, to each their own. I support anyone that wants to alter their body to make them more confident. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to completely change the way I look. I'm happy like with myself in certain ways. I like certain parts of my body and I don't like certain parts of my body, but there's a lot of moms out there that feel insecure about certain things, and if they want to change that, so be it. You know, whatever makes you confident, whatever makes you happy. I feel like after we have babies, we're so pressured to like lose the baby weight fast and make sure we get back on our workout routines and eat healthy again. And all I cared about after I had Kaden was just enjoying him, and I ate like shit. Like I didn't care. I really did not care. I would say I care more than I did when he was first born, or like months after he was born. Like, I care more about my body now, and he's a year old. So it's like, it took about like 6 to 12 months for me to be like, okay, like maybe I should work out more, and maybe I should, you know, watch what I'm eating. And then also being in quarantine, like being home, like, you know, I gained a few pounds because we weren't doing anything. We couldn't go out, and gyms were shut down. We were eating out a ton, like ordering out. I didn't get any stretch marks. I probably will with future pregnancies. I don't know if it goes off like genetically. Sometimes they say that, but my mom never got stretch marks, I don't think, for like her first or second pregnancies, and then she got some in her third pregnancy. I have rolls. I got a little mom gut, but it hasn't drastically changed. I haven't really noticed anything on my body besides my chest. I don't really like my boobs anymore. The shape of them, just like, one said if you put like sand in a sock and it just like hangs, like that's pretty accurate. They're just very sad and not perky and not the way they used to look. So I'm not opposed to getting anything done. I think the most thing that scares me is breast implant illness, but that doesn't happen for everyone. That's the only thing that I'm like nervous about. But if I want to change something on my body, you know, I'm definitely going to think very long and hard. I have many, many years, you know, I would like to do it after I have kids, but who knows? Now said, how long did it take you to get pregnant? So I actually had a chemical pregnancy back in March of last year. Okay, well, 2 years ago, I should say, because it's 2021. If you don't know what a chemical pregnancy is, it's basically a really early miscarriage. Most of the time it goes unnoticed if you're not testing early enough, if you're not testing before your missed period, or right when you missed your period, you might not even know that you would have it. It would almost come like a couple days late or a few days late. You could start bleeding, and you could just be like, oh, I got my period late. So a lot of chemical pregnancies go unnoticed, and unfortunately I was testing early because we were trying. I got many positive tests. I feel like I had like, I don't know, 10 like positive tests. They were all very light, faint, but they were there. I have a whole video on it. If you're interested, on my vlog channel, I talk all about my chemical pregnancy and kind of what I went through. It's super emotional. I was very vulnerable in that video. After my chemical pregnancy, I was told to wait a month for my cycle to, you know, come back, for me to get my period again, and then try again 2 weeks after, when I ovulate after my period. So that's what we did, and I ended up getting pregnant again. Got pregnant in May with Kaden. So I didn't have to try too many times. I was very, very grateful for that. But I was off my birth control for many, many months, and I did a lot of things to like try to get pregnant. I was tracking my ovulation. I was literally putting all my ovulation strips like in a book every single month, making sure that my positives were lining up. I tested my body temperature. I used that Ava bracelet. Like, I did so much months and months before that. So I was really, really lucky, but I can go into a whole other video of like what I did to try and what helped and everything. Kennedy said, did your boobs go back to normal? I only pumped for 3 weeks, but they're still so different. Same, girl. So I'm not going to get into a whole like breastfeeding pumping thing, because this was like a personal choice for me. Plus my recovery was so bad. Like I said, things did not go as I planned. I ended up pumping, and that's all he got in the beginning, and I supplemented with formula to make sure that he had enough. And I pumped for several weeks as well, and he just ended up doing really well in the formula. What was most important to me was making sure that he had the colostrum, and I actually still think I have some in my freezer. There's some things that I would do differently. There's a lot of things that I look back on and like I wish I pumped for more, but when you're going through it in that time, like, I was struggling so much, and I was also in so much pain, and I knew that my baby was being fed. I knew he was gaining weight. I knew he was doing well. So I just did not want to continue pumping, and that was a personal choice. The same for me. Like, my boobs still look so different, and they were like massive. If I'm being completely honest, like, I loved my chest when I was pregnant. Loved it. Loved every second of it. Yes, your nipples, your nipple area gets very different and weird. They look so different. But just like the size of them, I loved. I literally like look in my bra drawer and I'm like, wow, I wish I was this size. I lost probably 2 cup sizes. So if that gives you an indication of like how much mine have changed, it sucks. Sarah Dolan said, who got up with Kaden more in the middle of the night, you or Anthony? So me and Anthony got on a schedule. The first week was literally a blur. I couldn't tell you what we did the first week. I know that Anthony let me get sleep every single night during the first week. Again, because my recovery was awful. So he let me sleep in bed, and he took over every single night for, I want to say, the first week. After that, we alternated. So the way we would do it was like every time Kaden woke up, we would do every other feeding. So, you know, I would take the like 12 a.m. and then he would do the 3 a.m. and then I would do the 6 a.m. and then, you know, we would just alternate. He did that until he started to sleep a little bit longer stretches. Also, things got a little bit different when Anthony went back to work because obviously he needed to get some sleep so he could wake up in the morning. So that was a whole other thing. You know, we had to adjust to that as well. But is there anything you don't miss about having a newborn, and when do you and Aunt plan on trying for number 2? So, I mean, I would say the only hard part about newborns is that they sleep so much during the day and they don't sleep at night. I feel like that's probably the hardest part. Looking back, like, the newborn stage is so easy compared to like 6 months and up, I want to say. Just because literally with newborns, because they sleep all day, like, you can get so much done. And everyone has said, like, oh, just wait till they're doing this, just wait till they're doing that, wait till they start crawling, wait till they start getting into stuff. You're not gonna be able to get anything done. And it's true. As much as I hated that advice, and I'm like, I just want to worry about right now, I don't want to think into the future. It's true. Like, newborn stage is so easy in that sense because you can literally put them in a little swing or their bassinet or whatever, and you could just do whatever and they just sleep. So honestly, I love the newborn stage. Like, it is the best. And just holding them all day long, like, oh, I miss it so much. And I already answered the question about baby number 2. Cassie said, how do you handle finding time for yourself for self-care or to relax? So this has definitely been an adjustment. I have a hard time, like, taking that time for myself. What's worked for us is, you know, I just have to communicate that with my partner. Like, I'll say to my husband, you know, I need to take a few minutes for myself. Can you just give me like 15 minutes, a half hour, whatever. I just want to go like do a face mask, just lay down, take a bath, take a shower, wash my hair, like just little things. I just need some time. And it doesn't need to be several hours. It can be 15 minutes and I'd be happy. But you just need to communicate that with your partner. And another thing is you just not need to feel bad about it because, like I said before, you need to be able to relax. You need to be your best self for your baby. And if you are not sane, your entire house will not be sane. Another thing that I do for myself is like go do a Target run alone, or go, I mean, as horrible as it is, go grocery shopping alone. I mean, that's not as enjoyable. I would say that's not really self-care. But doing things alone is a lot more enjoyable. I mean, I think any mom could be like, yeah, I hate grocery shopping, but to be able to get out of the house alone is like enjoyable. To get my nails done, going to get my hair done, like just any little things like that. That's what I do for self-care. The time that is for me, like when I find time, is when Kaden goes to bed. That's the only time I really have. And this is another thing that me and my husband have kind of been struggling with, because, and I'll just be completely honest and like transparent, but like he wants to be able to relax and come home from work, and we, you know, have dinner or whatever. We get Kaden ready for bed. We do his whole bedtime routine. And then I sometimes just want to be alone, like by myself. Like I just want to be in bed or on the couch watching The Bachelor or whatever, just by myself. Sometimes I just don't want to be bothered. And sometimes he's the same way. And then sometimes we also need to find time for each other because, you know, we need some alone time. There was a lot of questions asked about like intimacy and how to get that back in your marriage after having a baby. So I'll get into that as well. This video is going to be so long. The only time that I really find that I have free, if I'm not asking for someone to watch Kaden, or unless, you know, my husband's home, is when he goes to bed. Like once he is down for the night, I am sitting on the couch watching a show. I put on Netflix or I'm on TikTok, or, you know, I get my shower and I relax for the night, and that's my me time. Someone said, how did you handle or survive the sleep regressions, especially the 4-month one? Oh my gosh. The 4-month sleep regression was the absolute worst. I feel like I cried the entire month. If you don't know about sleep regressions or like leaps, definitely download, if you're a new mom, download the app. It's called Wonder Weeks, and it gives you information about where your baby's at and their developmental leaps and when you can expect them to be super cranky and going through a sleep regression. So it kind of prepares you for it. Like you definitely need to mentally prepare yourself for that, because it's no joke. Like there's days where Kaden, I mean, I feel like he just went through a leap. It might have been like his 10-month one or a 9-month. I want to say it was like 10 months or something. But he went through a leap recently, and he was just getting so cranky every single day. Just nothing I did would make him happy. And I checked that app and I'm like, oh, there's storm clouds. Yeah, okay. So now I know he's going through a leap. It's super helpful, and oh gosh, how did I survive? You just have to get through it. Like I really don't have any advice for that besides it will pass. You guys will get through it. It's not forever. You just need to continue to say to yourself, like, this is going to pass, and before you know it, they're going to be older and they're going to be going through the next leap. It's sad to say, but there's a lot more leaps that are going to come. I think someone told me that like the 18th month leap, or there's like one that's a little bit later that's like just as bad as the 4-month. I'm waiting for it. But you'll just get through it. I don't really have any like advice. I mean, looking back, it seems like forever ago. The hardest age and month, I have a 6-month who is struggling to sleep. Tell me it gets better. It will get better, I promise. If you are struggling with your baby to sleep, I definitely recommend reaching out to a sleep consultant. I mentioned this to several people because they always ask like how I got Kaden to sleep in his crib and how he's like does so well sleeping, because he's been sleeping 12 hours a night like for, I want to say, ever since he was probably 6 months old. Maybe 7 months. But we used Sleep Shop Consulting. They actually have a podcast, and you can listen to their podcast. They have great advice. They also share a lot on their Instagram. I'll try to link them below. They have a lot of great podcasts that you can just listen to, and they give good tips about certain age groups. And I definitely recommend that if you're struggling with your baby to sleep through the night. I want to say the hardest month was probably like 3 to 4 months, maybe. Or maybe like maybe like 3 to 6 months. I'll say that, which that's kind of hard too, because now I'm naming multiple months, but yeah, like 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, I feel like had their moments. But because we got Kaden to sleep so well after like 5 months, I want to say 3 and 4 months were probably the worst, just for us personally. Especially when he went through that 4-month sleep regression. So yeah, that's what I would say. How are you feeling mentally? I'm having bad postpartum anxiety and I'm a stay-at-home mom. So right now I'm feeling okay, but I'm not really where I want to be. And I also mentioned some of my health issues with my blood pressure, so I'm dealing with that and we're trying to resolve that. So that's kind of giving me a lot of anxiety as well. Also, just the state of what our country is in right now, just everything going on gives me anxiety. One thing that I really do want to talk about with you guys, and this is kind of personal. This past year, especially within these past few months, I have been very much into my faith and growing closer to God. Now, I know this can be a little bit controversial, and if you're not a believer, if you're not, a Christian or someone who believes in God or just has faith in general, this year was extremely hard on me mentally. My anxiety was so bad. I mean, there's points where I thought I needed to go back on medication, which, if you don't know, a little backstory, I have been on anxiety medication before. I have been on antidepressants for years, and then I finally got off of them, and I have not been on them for several years. I wasn't on anything when I was pregnant. I actually felt really good during my pregnancy as far as like emotionally and mentally, but after, it was really, really hard on me. I also think it's just extremely hard to be a new mom and a first-time mom during a pandemic. That's a whole other thing in itself. I'm doing okay, but I'm not where I want to be. And one thing that's really tremendously been helping is just growing my relationship with God and growing in my faith. This might be a video that I could do down the line. I'm actually waiting for a Bible to come in the mail. I'm getting it made for me. I'm getting it hand painted. And someone reached out to me. They want to do it for me. I'm going to be doing a Bible study. I have just been so drawn to the Bible. I've been drawn to Christian music, and it's, to be completely honest, like, Christian music has really been helping my anxiety. I can't explain it unless you have felt what I've felt. Then it's so hard for me to explain. But I just feel this overwhelming peace that just comes over me, and I feel this like pure like joy and content when I'm listening to Christian music or when I'm in prayer. This is just something that has been happening over the past several months, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. I know that we're in a spiritual warfare right now, which I'm not going to go into, but if you are a believer, if you are someone who, is interested in like growing closer to God, I definitely recommend it if you do have anxiety, because it's something that has helped me so much. And that is the only thing I've really been doing. I haven't been taking any medication. I've been like working out here and there, which definitely does help. Also, another thing that's helped is just talking to other moms and other people who are going through similar things. When you're going through postpartum anxiety, for me personally, it's something that I felt like I needed to talk it out and like have someone there for me. So like talking to my mom or some of my friends who have kids. My one best friend, she had a baby during all of this as well. So, we kind of connect on that. and how we're feeling, and we have very, you know, similar things that we're going through. So having someone to talk to, I think, is so important, and also having your partner there for you to understand what you're going through. It's so hard on the mom, and I think a lot of people don't talk about that. I mean, it's usually, of course, it's all about the baby, but there's a lot of mental and physical recovery that goes into, you know, being a mom. And after birth, like, body is so out of whack from hormones and getting back to normal. And like I said before, I don't know what like the normal is as far as like being back hormonally. And also it's different, you know, with people who are breastfeeding for a long time. I don't know how that is. I mean, for me, I know that I've heard that some people don't get back to normalcy until a year or 6 months. Some people, it takes years, and that very well could be the case for me. I don't feel like I am suffering as much as I did months ago. I feel like I'm doing a lot better. Also, going back to what I said before, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, you know, and when you become a mom, you kind of lose a part of your identity. So some days you kind of feel like that's all you are, is just like a housewife and a mom. And that is kind of how I've felt this past year. It's been really hard for me to pick myself up and like do my work and do what I have to do, because I am unmotivated in that area of my life, and you're so focused on your kids and your new baby that you kind of lose yourself. Hard to get your confidence back, your happiness. I mean, it's without saying that you are so happy to have a baby and you love your child endlessly and you are just overjoyed by, you know, your baby. But there's a lot that goes into change when becoming, you know, a new mom. I have so many questions that I need to really get through all these, because I could just go on and on and on. It's been a while since I've sat down and talked to a camera, so please excuse me if I'm like all over the place here. Tips have how you get your house cleaned up with your baby. My 9-month is all over the place. So one thing that I did was I put toys in bins, and I'm actually going to upgrade these bins because I think it'll make it more of a cleaner look and be easy, like, to make the room look a lot better and not be able to see toys out. But I think getting like bins to put toys in and have covers for them. So right now mine don't have covers. They're just like big bins that I just throw everything in, and then like I have a little corner for him, and I try to keep all the toys in that corner, but things just get messy. I want to get bins that actually have lids to them so that at the end of the night I can clean everything up and it'll look good again. So that's like a tip if you're trying to look for like storage for things to make your house look better. This is another thing that it's so hard for me to get over and like just accept, but I've learned to be a lot better with it. And even when people come over, it's just like there's nothing you can do about it. You have a kid, you have babies, like it's gonna be messy. But sometimes you have to just let it be. Just that simple. Because there's nothing that you can do about messes every single day, and like stressing about it and getting yourself worked up about it really isn't going to do anything except make your house insane. If you're stressed about messes, it's only going to reflect on your child. So honestly, I just let Kaden make a mess throughout the day. And if I have to continue to clean up multiple times after his naps, you know, usually when he goes down, I'll pick up, I'll try to make the house look a little bit better. Oh, and then when he wakes up, it looks like a mess again. Because I'm picking up and I'm doing dishes and I'm continuously doing the same stuff over and over and over again all day. And then there's some days where my husband will come home and nothing has been picked up. a mess everywhere, and that's okay. Sometimes you just need to not stress about that, and trust me, I'm guilty of it because I cannot stand messes. I mean, I'm not the most organized person, trust me. If only you could see like this room that I'm in or my bedroom. And you'll also realize that when having kids, you just can't have nice things. Like nothing's gonna look perfect all the time, and I've kind of just gotten over that at this point. You know, he makes a mess, but I definitely think like having bins that have lids is probably really helpful, because at least you're getting rid of the mess and you're not seeing it even when the bins are out. If you could change one thing about your labor experience, what would it be and why? It would definitely be the fact that I had high blood pressure and it was on the mag, because the magnesium made me so sick. I threw up during labor. I was really, really out of it, like super loopy at one point. I was burning up, and then also the recovery after, trying to get up out of bed after literally sitting in the same position for 2 days straight, like, was absolutely awful. So if I could change one thing, it would be not be on magnesium. And I really, really hope that that's not something that I have to deal with for my future pregnancies. Like I'm praying, because my blood pressure has not been an issue since when I went into labor, like, and I've dealt with it ever since. And I thought that it had something to do with like postpartum, but now we're a year out and I'm still dealing with high blood pressure. So I just don't know what's going on with that, but I really, really hope and pray that that's not something that I have to go through again. Did you and Anthony easily fall into your parenting roles, or did it take a while to split duties? No, I think it was great in the beginning. I think, like I said before, like we alternated, we did everything as a team in the beginning. I think it just got really hard when he went back to work, and then I had to do everything on my own. It's just like a drastic change because he was always home for several months with me, and we did everything together, and we just equally split stuff, and then it was just me, and that was probably the hardest. But yeah, we did everything together, and I think it was good. She said, as a new mom, did you ever miss your old life, or do I ever miss my old life? No, I don't. I don't even know what my old life was before Kaden, and motherhood just changes in you. Like, I feel like I'm just a better person. I have grown so much ever since becoming a mom. I take less shit from people. I don't want to deal with drama. I don't want to deal with social media. Like, I don't want to, I don't know, just like something comes over you, and like things just matter so much, like family and your kids. It just like, all of that matters so much more than just petty stuff that would bother me before, or just like little things. You know, when I didn't have Kaden, I would like worry about, and don't get me wrong, like when you have kids, like your stress and your anxiety is about different stuff. That's probably more. Whole life, your whole mindset changes when you have a kid, and I don't miss anything about my old life. I was never the going out party type. So, you know, I know that's what a lot of people are referring to when like they say that, you know, they wish they could go out more or, you know, do stuff. But I was not like that. Like, I'm such a homebody, and I love being home. I love being with family. That's just how I am. So I never even really did much before Kaden. So, and I don't really like when people say like, oh, when you have a kid, like, you know, your life's over, like you can't do anything. And that's so not true at all. Like, we still go out, we still have date nights, we still hang out with friends. Like, everything is still the same. So I don't know why people say that. Has having a baby affected your and Anthony's relationship? It tested mine. Oh, it definitely tested our relationship. We went through a lot of hard times this past year. And a lot of those things obviously weren't on camera. I mean, it's a lot. It's very hard to have a new baby. And who knows how it's going to be when we have our second baby. I don't know. There was a lot of growth that needed to happen, you know, for us individually. But I think overall where we are a year out, I think we're in a really good place, and I think it's made us stronger. And I also think that it's made us appreciate and value like our time together more, because before, you know, when we didn't have Kaden, we were all each other had. Obviously when Bella's here, my stepdaughter, you know, we're all about her as well. You know, we don't have time for ourselves, but when we are all each other has, we get so used to and comfortable with just, you know, always spending time together and having that quality time. But when you have a baby, things change, and you have to really make that effort to spend that time together, and then you appreciate it so much more. Like, we appreciate date nights so much more, and we get excited about it, and I get so excited to like dress up and like look pretty for him, because I look like a bum every single day being home with Kaden. So yeah. What was one thing you wish you would have been told about labor? Okay, the only thing I can think of for this question is the fact that I didn't realize that you would have to get like boosters. I forget what it's called. It starts with a B. But that you would have to get boosters for your epidural. Like, I literally thought that once you got your epidural, you were in no pain, and that just was not the case for me. If you watched my labor story video, you know all about this, but I literally had to get like boosters of my epidural over and over and over again, because my epidural wore off so many times and I was in so much pain. And I just did not think it was like that. That's not something anyone told me. No one told me that I would have to like press this button for the medication to still continue to like work. And there was a lot of times that they had to come in with medication and put it through my IV for me, because I was still in so much pain. And up to the point where when I was pushing, my epidural wore off. So they had to give me another booster. And then I had to wait for several minutes, probably like another half hour, 45 minutes for that to kick in, and then push again. And by that point, it was hitting me in the right areas and I was able to push. So I just was not told any of that. Like, no one told me that like I would have to be like adjusted, or that I would have to get more of the medication. I just thought like, oh, once I get my epidural, like I'll be pain-free. And that's just not how it worked for me. I also feel like nowadays, supposedly from what I hear, that the epidurals that they give, the medication is not as strong, so that you still feel sensation and you still can push, which is definitely helpful. But yeah, I think it's just a lot different now. Like, they just don't overdo it. Right, so I think those are all of the questions that I'm going to answer. A lot of them were repeats. Someone else asked about my period, if I'm struggling with it. Someone said that she's 11 months postpartum and it's worse than ever. Definitely. Also, the fact that I'm not on birth control again. I never went back on birth control because I did not want, depending on when we would have another child or try again, I didn't want to have to go through everything that I went through going off birth control. Because when I went off a couple years ago, after my wedding, I lost a ton of hair. I had the worst acne. Like, my mood swings were outrageous. Like, I went through a lot getting off the pill, so I didn't want to go back on. That was a personal choice. I thought about other options and stuff, and that, you know, that might still work, but my cycle has definitely been worse. Let me tell you one thing that I've noticed. Definitely around my menstrual cycle, I get really depressed. I don't know why, but like usually the week before or the week leading up to my period, I get like super sad and just like really depressed, really weepy. I cry over stuff. That's something that I've noticed. Like, my emotions are really hard to handle around that time. My period's also been very, very heavy. Like, abnormally, just going through tampons like crazy before, and they are also just a little bit longer. I want to say I probably have like just longer and heavier than I did before. But also being on birth control too, like, is a lot different. So yeah, I feel like around my cycle, I definitely struggle a lot more emotionally than I ever really noticed before. And just like my cramping, I have a lot more symptoms now, and they're brutal. I don't like it. So those are some things that I wanted to touch on in this video. I know that I haven't uploaded on here in quite a bit. It has been one wild, crazy year. It's been an emotional one. It's been a struggle in so many aspects, but it's also been the best year of my life so far. It's very hard to say that, right? Like, it's hard for something to be so hard and like the worst year, but also the best year and like the happiest year of your life. Very, very strange. I feel like a lot of people have been feeling this way. But yeah, my son is one. If you would like to see more of him or my family, go on over to my vlog channel, check out our vlogs, and who knows what I'm going to post on here next. Write some comments below. I actually do want to do a clean with me, or like a cleaning routine kind of video, because those videos used to do really well, and since I'm home, it's the one thing that I feel like I could probably do more of. Let me know if you have any suggestions on content, guys, because I'm pretty lost over here, and I'm not gonna apologize and I'm not gonna make up excuses. Like, it just is what it is. I've been feeling some type of way about YouTube, and I've been feeling a little distant from social media too. It's just the world is crazy right now, and more than ever, I just want to protect my family and protect myself, my mental health, everything. So I've been distant. I appreciate you guys watching this. It's probably the longest video ever, so I will apologize for that. If you are at the end of this video and you've watched the entire thing, please give this a thumbs up. Comment below. I would love to read your comments. And I hope you guys are doing well. Happy 2021. I almost said 2020. Happy 2021, and I'll see you in my next video, whatever that will be. Bye, guys.